The most powerful tool the Liberals have in their political arsenal is the charisma of Justin Trudeau and that in-person magic he's got. So that's why they've done it. But Regina also sits, while we're on the itinerary, I think, at a couple of other really deep conflicts we've got right now. So we've got the folks who are pro-pipeline who are demonstrating outside the ledge, and you've got the Indigenous folks and their allies who are stopping it and having their blockades knocked down in BC. Regina's, pretty central to that story. And there's the deep fight that's going on between provinces and the federal government over energy policy generally right now. And coming to Regina is a way to kind of step on the toes of Scott Moe and say, listen, I'm in your backyard and look at me, I've got a big crowd here too. I think the great weaknesses, and they're paired, they're twinned. He's made enemies of many of the provincial governments. That's not just a liberal conservative thing, that's a core understanding of federalism thing. And if you go back and look at the election platform from last time, many of those 115 promises that are there require the cooperation of the provinces to deliver. And if you were to go through and scorecard this government's performance, you'd see a lot of promises, a lot of political capital spent, and relatively little program implementation, because they've, on file after file, had trouble getting the provinces to work with them. And the reality of Canada is the federal government needs provincial cooperation to deliver programs that are core to what we expect government to do. It's an interesting question. Wall handle, like, how does a premier who's running against, whose kind of core political message is I'm against this guy, handle the prime minister visiting? Brad Wall handled it basically just by staying away. And I expect Moe to do the same thing. If only out of, Moe's a decent politician and everything, but he's not going to be able to go toe-to-toe, so to speak, with the Prime Minister in the same event and come off looking well, both because he's a Premier and Trudeau's the Prime Minister, and in terms of their kind of ability to engage. I think Moe will be happy to have addressed a gathering of pro-resource people at the ledge, to have had what he hoped to be a good news story with the apology for the 60s scoop, and to just say, well, that was a good enough week for me, and move on. If you think back to the 1970s, one of the big parts of Pierre Elliott Trudeau's appeal, which we've kind of forgotten about now, was a particular form of anti-American Canadian nationalism. And then it was very robust, and it's why we built a whole bunch of crown corporations and stuff. Because Trump is so vocal, Trudeau now can simply be much quieter about it and say, well, just look, we're different. So it's an easy sell for him.